Hi everyone, Natalie here, and today I'm going to be talking about the subject of health and fitness. And in particular, it's going to be about postures. I am an athletic trainer at Disneyland. I work there a few days a week and mostly preventative, but we do see a lot of aches, pains, and injuries on the entertainment side, whether it's parade performers, dancers, costumers, hair and makeup, photographers. There's a lot of people that we treat there. And one of the most common things that I talk about over and over and over again with more than half the people I see on a daily basis there is posture, and how posture can create chronic aches and pains in the neck and shoulders. It can cause numbness and tingling down the arms. You can also get a lot of knots down your back. And these are things that I kind of feel like I say so many times that it's one of those things that we all need to be a little bit more aware of. We live in a lifestyle where we're always on our phones, we're always leaning forward, we're on our computers. Everything we do is in front of us, right? I mean, when you brush your teeth, when you're cooking your food, driving your car, we're all in this forward position. From the time we're kids, we're sitting in chairs at school. And we're over books, reading and doing all kinds of other things, video games, whatever it is. Even an office desk job, you're leaning forward most of the time. So with this chronic leaning forward, there's a few things that happen with your posture. And I just wanted to talk about that today, about what that might be doing to your body, and then a couple of things that you can do to help correct that. To keep the long story short of all the things that are going on, I like to break it down into three basic components. So our pec minor is one of the chest muscles that actually draws the shoulders forward. And I've got a couple little photos here. So this is your pec minor muscle. And so as you can see, it kind of comes down across from the shoulder onto your chest at a diagonal. And so that's going to draw the shoulder forward. When our shoulders are drawn forward and we kind of become in this chronic forward position instead of being upright and neutral, we actually start to not only get tight here, which most people don't really notice until we start digging in there and find out that it is really tight or go into a deep stretch, but it really affects the upper traps. So these muscles here, a lot of people are like, oh, I carry all my stress in my shoulders. Well, that may be true, and that could be one of the things that's going on. But there's a few things that go along with that. So if we were to look at the back of the shoulders, just the shoulder blades, your scapula, the actual inner line, the inner border that's parallel to the spine, that should be fairly neutral. Those should all be perpendicular lines from one scapula to the other and your spine, if we were to look at you from the back side. As we start to get pulled forward, what ends up happening is the shoulder blades start to open up, and then we get this winging sensation where instead of being nice and flat in the back, we end up starting to let the shoulder blades kind of wing out. You can kind of try to make it happen here, but you can kind of see the shoulder blades sticking out in the back. So instead of being neutral, we end up being here. When that happens, we really start to get weak right between those shoulder blades. So the muscles in the mid back end up getting stretched out because we're here, we're not pulled back. And because of that weakness of the mid back, we start to move from these muscles instead of these muscles. So let me break that down a little bit more for you. So we've got our upper trapezius. So if we were to look at someone's backside, these are the muscles that connect to the top of the neck and out to the shoulders. So these end up overworking. You can even see the scapula right here, how it should be somewhat parallel to the spine. We have our middle trapezius, which is kind of keep things neutral, but then our lower trapezius muscles, these are the ones that get a little bit stretched out, and this actually helps draw that shoulder blade kind of back and down into your back. There's more muscles than that, but let's just keep it simple today. There's other ones that connect to the shoulder blade, draw you in, and wrap around the rib cage as well. So if you have chronic shoulder neck tightness, typically we'll see a lot of that forward head posture as we start to dip our chest forward. The head also jets forward, so you're going to get a lot of neck tension, a lot of shoulder tension. You're going to get pretty weak right across the mid back, typically where the girl's bra strap would be. And some other things that might be happening is getting knots right between the shoulder blades. And that's because our body's always trying to self-correct. Our body wants to heal itself. We are healing organisms. And so what our body's doing is trying to pull us back, and that's where you'll get a lot of the knots in the mid-back. Some other things that I see a lot with some of the people that I work with is they'll start to get maybe some numbness and tingling in the hands. If you look at the actual shoulder, just kind of the bone structure of it, there's not a whole lot of space right between here, but we have a lot of nerves that run down and through that shoulder crease into our arms and into our hands. So with this teeny tiny space, if you start to roll your shoulder forward and you're just in this chronic posture, what are you doing? You're compressing all of these nerves. Now, there may be some other things going on. If you've been in a car accident, if you had a neck injury, there could be something coming from your neck that's causing some of that nerve pain, but it could just be your posture. It could just be the shoulders rolling forward and compressing. And by getting yourself into a better posture, you can not only start to slack these muscles up here, so that you don't get that chronic shoulder pain, but it can also reduce some of that irritation in the nerves that are going down into your arms. Your body won't be trying to pull you back so much, so you may not get those knots down your back either, because you're going to start to strengthen that area and you're going to start to stretch out your chest. So the two things we want to do to start off with, there's a lot of other things that we can do and run with and create a really great postural corrective program, but to keep it simple today, we're going to stretch the chest and then strengthen the muscles in the mid-back. So we always want to kind of open up the front first, because if we're tight in the front and we try to go right into back strengthening, we're going to be tugging and pulling against something that's really tight. So it's always good to have a combination of like massage in this area, but one thing you can do every day is come against either a door frame or even the corner of a room. And like I showed earlier, the pec minor kind of runs down at an angle, right? So we want to get our arm at that same angle. The elbow should be a couple inches higher than the shoulder. I see a lot of people doing chest stretches where their elbow is the same height as their shoulder, or even coming here and like coming in a doorway, but their arms are really down low. Yes, you're going to stretch your chest and your shoulders, but you're not really targeting that specific angle that's pulling you forward. So I say if you can do 3 or 4 different places or more with the angle of your arm, great. But if you're going to choose one, get your elbow a little higher than your shoulder. Come into a doorway and then start to twist your body in the opposite direction. So I'm actually opening up my entire chest. I'm twisting my body around, and I'm really trying to get a deep stretch here. I'm trying to drop that shoulder down away from my ears, keep my abdominals in, my rib cage in, and imagining my entire rib cage twisting away from my arm. You can hold this stretch here for maybe 10 to 20 seconds to start with. Eventually you'll be able to hold up to 30 seconds or a minute even. And after a couple rests, I like to pull my abs in and even bend my knees a little deeper, really sink into it. And you're gonna feel a great stretch here. If your hands and fingers start to go a little numb, that's okay, that's normal. That just means you're really tight. You don't want to hang out for 2 minutes with your fingers tingling. That's going to put a lot of pressure on those nerves. But a little bit of tingling is normal. Maybe hang out for another 5-10 seconds at most, and then go ahead and bring that off. So you're going to want to do that on both arms. This you can do a few times a day, every day, and maybe do a couple sets. Do left, right, maybe even a third or fourth time, and do that a couple times a day. That's just going to help to really open up the front of your body and allow you to be able to get into a better postural position. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to go down to the floor and we're going to do a mid-back strengthening exercise. This one's great because you can do it at home and you don't need any equipment either. So that's why I chose this one. All right, here we are on the floor. So this is the one strengthening exercise I want you to start with for starting to improve your posture. We can stretch out the chest all we want, but if we don't actually strengthen the back to hold you in a good posture, then it's not going to stick. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a towel, roll it up so that you can rest your forehead on the towel, and then you're going to bring your arms out to the side. So you're in a nice big T position. And I want you to rotate so your thumbs are up towards the ceiling. With every back extension and back strengthening exercise, you always want to pull your abdominals in. So feel like your tailbone's tucking under, pull your abs in to protect your low back here. You really want to be able to engage your abdominals because your body works as a whole unit. So from this point, we're really focusing on dropping the shoulders down away from the ears. You can even bring the palms down a little lower than your shoulders to begin with. As you get stronger, you'll be able to bring your arms higher and higher. But from here, shoulders drop down. Imagine those shoulder blades squeezing down and together before you even move. It's so important to be able to visualize this. You actually have to be able to feel it happening before you actually lift your hands off the floor. Now that you have that squeeze, just lift your arms maybe 1 inch to 3 inches off the floor. That's it, no higher than that. It's not about a big movement. And bring it back down. And again, you're just going to keep those shoulders down, squeeze between the shoulder blades, down low, keep those abs in, just lift your arms 1 to 3 inches and lower. The goal here as you move through this exercise is that you should feel that section right where your bra strap would be engaging. If you feel anything in the top of your shoulders or you're not feeling it in your mid-back, then you're not doing it correctly. It's really easy to just go into default mode and start using your upper traps, which is all these neck muscles here, by hiking and lifting. So if you're not thinking about it, most likely you're going to move like this, where you're engaging from the top of your shoulders. So you really, really have to focus on this one. It's not easy in the beginning for most of us to be able to find that, but drop those shoulders down and back, squeeze, and then lift. So with this exercise, it's all about quality over quantity. So it's important to, maybe only do 1 or 2 repetitions. If you can only do 1, 2, 3, or 4 where you're engaging the right muscles, then that's all you can do. Don't try and do 20, don't try and do 10 if you're not activating from the right spot. That's really the most important thing. I'd rather see one quality one where you actually find the right muscles, so that you're learning how to retrain your body. It's not just a strength issue, it's also a neuromuscular issue. Your brain actually has to send through your neural pathways to tell your body to activate the correct muscles in order to retrain your body. So again, it's not quantity. Do 1 and then rest, or do 2 and then take a break, count to 5, reset, roll the shoulders down and back, pull your abs in, and try again. It's a lot more challenging than it looks, but when you start to find it and you actually find the right muscles turning on, you should feel a nice strip of burning sensation in your mid-back, and those are your postural muscles. You know, it's one thing to try and just, I'm going to have better posture and walk outside and try and keep your shoulders back. You're going to get tired. You're going to go back into your default. We have to retrain your neuromuscular patterning in order to really correct your posture. And once you do, like I said, a lot of the shoulder tension, it's going to go slack because you start to engage with the right muscles. It'll reduce a lot of pain and irritation. It's something that you need to be slow and consistent with. So this may take several months to really start seeing some big results, but you should start to notice in the first couple of weeks of doing the chest stretches and the back strengthening, you'll notice some big difference in the first week or 2. Just how you feel, your confidence, feeling the strength in your back to actually be able to hold your posture a little bit better, and it'll just accelerate from there. There's a lot of progressions we can go with this, but I just wanted to keep it simple today and just give you those 2 things. Start stretching your chest every day. With this back strengthening, you can start out trying to do a couple reps every day. If you can do at least 2 or 3 times a week, that would really be great. But if you can get it every day, that's awesome too. Don't overdo it. You maybe get a total of 10 or 20 after doing several sets of 2 or 3. That's okay. Over time, you'll be able to do more and more. You'll be able to do sets of 10 or 20. We can add weights. We can do other things. But for beginners, just really focus in. And I hope this helps you. I hope you start to improve your posture, reduce your pain, and just, start standing up straight, get a little bit more confidence, and just start feeling better overall.